So good morning all, and thanks to the Amaran, thanks to Mr. Simon who invited me again, and thanks to all the readers. And it's always a pleasure to hear everybody. There we go. So let's get into it. This is called Retchings. I found a spider in my shower stall this morning. It looked remarkably like the one I tried to drown a couple of weeks ago. I always feel guilty when I do. My grandmother was a spider. I then noticed it walked about rather strange. It had 7 legs instead of 8. I thought of the story of Robert the Bruce, who watched the spider while he was seeking refuge in a cave. He watched as the spider kept falling in its climb towards the roof of the cave, but succeeded. Kept falling and falling, but succeeded the 7th time. Robert the Bruce became King of Scotland on his 7th try. I wondered if I, too, was a spider. I heard today the man in black was dead. I got really drunk, so much that I cried, sentimental fool that I am, flirted with a gay man from Costa Rica. I felt a little guilty doing it, but it was the most attention I'd gotten since I'd gone to Miami. Today was hard for me not to be sad. A man called John died. He was a sharecropper's son, born so poor they couldn't afford a first name. Initials is all he got, J.C. And it burns, burns, burns. June wrote these words for him, even though she was married to someone else, which she did. It would take 10 years for his words to come true. You will be my wife. I never understand why people think they need to be married. Cash sang about Ira Hayes, the native Marine who helped to raise the U.S. flag on Iwo Jima. The unenrolled Pima. He found the instant celebrity in spotlight a bit too much. A reluctant war hero and involuntary public relations pet. He was single and childless. They found him fallen, drunk in a ditch, dead. I'm going to have some drinks in memory of Johnny. I'm already melancholy. Maybe something funny will happen to me on the way. After hours of darkness, I awoke. Fucking coyote. How could he have left me like that? Sprawled on the floor in front of the big tree at the gate near Sandy's Accord? He must have gotten lucky. My head pains me from the blow I took. Trees are known to brain you once in a while if you're not polite. Odin hung from the world tree for 9 days. I wondered how long I had lain there. I don't remember. He also gave up his left eye for wisdom. How much was I willing to give? The spider wobbles, but does not fall. I think I died. The pit of my stomach is dark, twisted, and cavernous like Rilke's God. Why hast thou forsaken me? Songs of Solomon, they say, were all poems to pick up a girl. I was on the internet, happened upon the story of Louis of Sockalexis, the first native guy in Major League Baseball. Apparently, there's 3 books out on his life now. I'm waiting for the movie. He played baseball and football at Holy Cross in Notre Dame. He signed with the Cleveland Spiders. He had to deal with the pressures of being native only 21 years after Custer, had met his fate. Some Indians had barely been reserved. After a season, he hurt himself jumping out of a 2-story brothel window, drunk. He didn't play as well again. He could have been a contender, single and childless. They found him drunk and dead too. I hate baseball. They renamed the Cleveland Spiders to the Naps and then to the Indians, supposedly for Sockalexis. If they named the Cleveland team after him, why does Chief Wahoo look like such an idiot? A silly, grinning red Sambo. There were children teasing each other aboard the Miami Metro Rail. One of the boys got feisty, and the girls smacked him a few times. It's funny to share a name with a boy in cornrows. I thought as she yelled his name after me. Desire is suffering, quoth the Buddha. Oh, how I suffer. I wonder if he cares how I feel when I see a big blonde boy wearing Chief Thunder on the front of his shirt. American Outfitters are the benchmark for sensitivity. Maybe I should make a shirt that says President George Armstrong Custer. I wonder if anybody would say anything then. My friend says that I look like Chief Wahoo when I grin with a mouthful of Joe. Siddhartha acquired enlightenment when he forsook material goods and desires. Must have been nice after having indulged in wealth, pleasures, and harems for most of his life. I have yet to see that side of the spectrum. We'll speak of enlightenment then. When I was a kid, sometimes shared liquor with bums. They usually wound at their cut for acquiring it for you in the first place. I always wondered, maybe even wished, that one of them might turn out to be Jesus sharing his grail. I used to think that God had gone radio silent, but every once in a while I hear static. A swarm of ants invade each other, and every place that I decided to sit down in Miami drivers are the same. A black coffin with silver handles. Pretty cool for that last ride. They buried Johnny Cash today. I have given birth, but know no joy. My words as unwelcome as I. My God is a silence found in all things. I am the spider. This is a series, speaking of movies, this is a trilogy of movies, or poems based on movies, or movies based on poems. This one's called Ninja versus Indian. I was watching a bad 80s ninja flick. It was a typical martial arts scenario. A good guy had retired from the ninja gig 20 years previous. It was now a quiet importer of Asian dolls, but he was forced to get back into the badass killing business because his son was being held hostage. Along the way, he encounters the usual video game type baddies, first, second, and third levels. And he's going to have to kill bikers, rednecks, and other assortment of unfriendly folks. All of a sudden, a blonde-haired guy wearing braids, a leather vest, and moccasins shows up. What the hell? An Indian. And a blonde one at that. He must use too much citric acid in his shampoo. I wonder why the hell he's dressed like that in L.A. of all places. How come Indians always seem to love to use knives in the movies? Of course, Indian, as he's referred to in the credits, gets his ass kicked by the good guy. I always wonder if white people get a kick of non-white on non-white action. One of these days, I'm going to make my own movie and call it Return of the Indian. This is the sequel, Ninja vs. Indian 2. The star of most of the bad 80s ninja movies was Sho Kosugi. He used to be my sensei before he became a movie star. When I was very young and lived in the San Gabriel Valley, I'm sure that as a struggling immigrant, he had to find a way to make some money by teaching some of the stuff he did. He also had a large picture of him and Bruce Lee mounted in the front part of his dojo. My parents had signed me up for karate lessons because I wanted to be Bruce Lee. Sho had two sons. One was named Shane, and the other one was named Kane. No joke. They eventually ended up coming out in the movies with their dad. Kane, or was it Shane, used to pick on me a lot. I was afraid to do anything because his dad was my teacher, and I was worried that he'd kick me out of the dojo. Until one day, after his usual round of bullying, I just popped a little midget, a good one to the head. He stopped fucking with me then. I wonder if Sho would remember me. I hope not. My parents broke the contract, and we still owe money. Part 3, Ninja vs. Indian 3, The Return of Shane. I just finished reading at a book conference when Coyote ran up to me. He was out of breath and wheezing. I warned him to stop smoking so much. Ah, shit, it's all gonna hit the fan, he gasped. He loved melodrama and pantomime coughing up a lung. What are you talking about? I was drawing further away from the damn podium where the conference organizers had the presenters and poets read. I had drawn away from it as much as possible due to my disdain for sermons and preachers. Luckily, we had wireless mics and my ability to project had helped some. Shane's here! Coyote was wearing his favorite tie-dyed shirt and fit right in at the conference locale of San Fran. He tossed his mane back and scratched his ass while looking at me through grease-covered specs. Shane who? I was trying to get a pen out to sign a book for a person who probably wouldn't remember me after the conference, but chapbook is like the first steps towards wading into a deep pool. One should rather take the plunge. The guy moved away when he saw Coyote smile. Shane Kosugi, fucker, and he's pissed. I looked at him perplexed. He heard the poems you wrote about him and his old man. He's coming here now. He said the words while mouthing them in an obvious attempt to emulate bad kung fu movies. What? Fuck me up. You're so full of shit, Coyote. I moved towards the exit as someone took the stage. I heard the announcer call his name, a name that sounded like the one Coyote just uttered. Please welcome Shane Kosugi. A handsome and dapper man, who resembled Simon Ortiz for some reason, walked up to the podium, took off his glasses, cleaned them with an eyeglass rag, he coughed, drank some water, reached for the microphone. Good evening. I'd like to start with a piece that fits quite well with this evening's readings. It's called You Owe Me One, or How to Collect Your Money from Contract-Breaking Indians. Coyote and I laughed. He laughed so hard that he farted. Loud. This caused the audience to giggle, and Shane wasn't too happy about that. Shameless self-promotion.